Welcome everyone back to the second half and our session today. We're going to have a discussion about post-corona or with corona, how to revive the tourism industry and the future of it. With us today we have Mr Pradipta Mohapatra, who is the AVP of Mayfair Group of Hotels and Resorts. May I ask sir to please come on stage. Just to have a brief introduction of Mohapatra sir, I'll just mention that I have been watching him for many years now in different fairs, whether it is Saturday or TTAA in other places. And one thing that always comes to my mind when I think about you is the smile. I've rarely seen him without his smile. I know he takes a lot of pressure, he works very hard, and he is one of the pillars who have taken the Mayfair Group to its heights today. But he does all this with his great smile. Next, I would like to call up on stage Mr Hirak Jyoti Maitra, GM of Vista. Mr. Maitra is Hirak to us. He is a member of the association. He has been instrumental in many of our programs. He's just like a family member to us. Next, I would like to call on stage Mr. Swarup Bhattacharya. Is the GM of new property which has come out nearby in Baradighi. It's a unique property. It's an experiential property, I believe. I didn't have the fortune to visit it. What I gather is it's one of the gems of. It's going to be one of the gems of tours. Last, the panelists who are offline, who are present here, is our secretary, Mr. Sandipan Ghosh. Please come up on stage. Sandipan. He is the secretary of EHTTOA for the last 4 years, and he's been instrumental in taking the organization forward, and he has done a great job taking EHTTOA regional organization to a national platform, networking with different associations at the national level. And online, we have with us 2 more people. One is Mr Vijay Mohan, who is the president of TTAA. It's a travel agents association of Andhra Pradesh. Mr. Mohan, welcome to this seminar and to this dialogue, I would say. Thank you. Are you audible to you, sir?
Yeah, you're very audible.
Last but not the least, we also have Akansha Garg, who is the director at Waxpol Hotels and Resorts. Waxpol has a property nearby, near Lataguri, I guess, and one of the first luxurious properties of tours. And she used to be based in Calcutta, now she has moved to Delhi. And this was probably your first property, right, Akansha? The first property was
no, the first property was Sundarbans. Sundarbans, then Duas. Thank you.
So let's start our deliberation discussion. The first question that comes to my mind is the basic discussion point is the Naya Savera, the new horizon or the new dawn. In tourism, we have seen good days and bad days. In Northeast, in our region, if you have to work, you have to be prepared for burns and strikes and all kinds of eventualities. But this kind of eventuality we haven't faced in our lifetime. The entire industry closed down for almost 6 months now. Zero movement, and even worse than that, unpredictableness. I mean, you don't know what is going to come tomorrow, what's going to happen next day. So that was a very dark night. Since, although we still don't have a vaccine for corona, people are coming out, people have started moving around. You call anyone, you can hear the corona relaxation tape which is being played. And there is a positive energy which has started flowing in. Different destinations have started opening up. We hear that in Shimla, once it opened, in one day there were about 60,000 people who arrived there. Similar kind of, not such a big number, but quite a substantial number of tourists have started arriving in some places in the hills and rivers already. So you can see some revival. So, keeping that in mind, I'd like to start with Mr. Mohapatra, sir. What is your expectation about the immediate future of, let's say, 6 months to 1 year? How do you see tourism evolving in terms of volume? And how much time do you think, or when do you think we are going to get back to the 2019 level or pre-corona level of business?
Thank you. In fact, I would like to first congratulate you for organizing such beautiful event, and this is the need of the hour. In fact, you see, this pandemic, we know what kind of injustice which has created for the entire industry. So we are the first industry to suffer, and we are the last industry to survive. So, we have to look the entire thing in a different perspective on the way. Yeah, it is not going to be like it used to be pre-COVID era. So it is going to be completely different. So now the first thing what comes to action is to give the confidence at all level to all our clients, yeah, all our customers, all our guests. So that kind of confidence we have to give. Now you see this unlock has started, and it will keep continuing. In fact, the business has to start it, everything has to go on, otherwise the economy is going to be really bad, and it is going to be very difficult to survive once the economy is down. So the things will fall in track. Things will fall in track, but now the moment us organize give confidence to the guest or to the customer, so they are the ones who are going to survive. But yes, definitely it will take time to come back to the level of 2019. But immediately, because again technology has evolved during this time. The people have taken the help of technology during this time. And everybody is having the financial crisis. They are also having a lot of cost control in their respective areas. So those things will keep on continuing. And if I take around 10 to 12 segment which hotel industry and the tourism industry used to get, so that segment is going to be very limited now. So we have to have focus on those particular segments. For example, this social get-together events, for example, your weddings and the other social get-together events, those will keep continuing. Okay. Even the numbers are going to be less, but that segment is going to continue. Yeah. So now the domestic tourism was always a backbone of Indian tourism industry. That will keep continuing. Apart from that, the outbound tourism now will stop, and those will get converted to the domestic market. So that is something that the good news. In fact, I mean, there are people, not many people will travel, but whatever people will travel, they will definitely travel within India. Again, if I consider the India as a whole, now regional tourism will play a very important role, because there are people from a particular region will travel in that region only. The people will prefer to go for a drive which is to a destination which is nearby from their city. Okay, so those driveway locations are going to explode, are going to flourish, and this homestay concept, and also the resorts or the facilities which are in secluded areas, those are definitely going to get flourished. And now, for example, we will take the example of North Bengal. So there are so many. In fact, you see, I also didn't know about the places in North Bengal, but North Bengal is having. In fact, I was talking to all of you, so I got to know quite a bit information about the North Bengal, and particularly this area. This area is full with a lot of tourism products, which is again not known by many people within this territory. There are so many people who doesn't know about North Bengal, who are residing in Siliguri or residing in Malda. So this is the time we need to strengthen the regional destinations, because these destinations are going to get fueled by the tourists from a driving distance. But yes, to get back to 2019, it will take time. So, but we have to live within that. We have to have a different source of, the managing the property, different source of options to manage the property and get the business. But this will continue like this. And once the vaccine is out, which we are expecting it soon, in fact, there are so many talks going on about the vaccine and all. But once it is out, I don't think it will take much time to get back to the normal. So probably from the financial year 2021-22, things will be all right. So that's quite optimistic. I'm quite optimistic about it. But we look at it. In fact, during this pandemic, we opened our best property. Yeah, Mayfair Resorts Siliguri.
Yeah, definitely like to hear about your property as well.
Mayfair Resorts
But
Siliguri.
before going to your property, I would like to hear about your property. Definitely, it's going to be an interesting property.
It is no doubt the best property of Mayfair, and we are so proud that we have come up with in our tea garden, which is very dear to our chairman, Mr. For a long time, he had a dream to explore the tea tourism, and Siliguri area is the best area where he would have explored this. So we have invested a lot of money here, and we have a lot of expectation for this property, and we will definitely explore the entire area, and we will definitely we will try our best to get the tourism to this part of the world. So this is one of the best property in the world, you can say, and I would invite all of you to come and visit that property and be our guest. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Congratulations on the new property, and we also wish you all the best. When Mayfair says it's the best property, it means something. It has to be really great. We are really looking forward to visiting the property. Now, when we started, I'll just take the same point to Mr. Mohan now. I mean, what we gathered from Mr. Mohan is that the tourism post-COVID is going to be different. That is something we are calling new normal. And he has already mentioned about several aspects in several ways in which tourism is going to be different. So my question to you is, since you are in the market, I mean, you interact with the regular clients on a regular basis, and you know what is going to be different in the post-COVID or with COVID tourism. So my question to you is, how it is going to be different? What are the ways we can adapt in the new normal scenario? Over to you, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I would like to thank Sandipan G for actually coming out with this wonderful idea of a virtual, what should I say? I don't know what, he just called me up and asked me to come online. I don't know what word to give this, but all said and done, wonderful idea. And I would always say, see, I've always felt that I've been part of the Mayfair family because I feel you've involved Mayfair. Let me start with that line. And apart from being a family, the Mayfair has some excellent, great people, I would say. Starting off with the beloved chairman, sir, and then our loving ED, sir, Mr Pradipta Mohapatra ji, and our loving friend. I would always call him a loving friend, Pradipta sir. And now going back to what you asked me, now the coronavirus, let's look at the core factor. It is throttle the travel industry, and the cascading effect that it has is going to cripple the industry for quite some time. And it's going to be a real meltdown. And the kind of pathetic condition that we are is a very challenging business scenario as we look forward. I mean, it's the worst crisis that we ever had. All verticals that, you call it leisure, you call it adventure, MICE, cruise, corporate, all the niche markets. And also, the hotels, we travel agents, tour operators, restaurants, family restaurants, destinations, venues, everything is all hit. Now, how do we come out of that is the real question mark. We will only actually know as we look forward. But one of the best ways to go forward, what I feel is we create a self-stimulus. The way that we do a self-stimulus is we work together as fraternities, like, as we have an association in the Eastern Himalayan Travel Tour Operators. We have an association here. Then we need to involve all the EHTTOA, TAI, ITO, TAFI, everybody, and all these state regional associations across the state, which we already have something called FRITA. I think we'll all have to come together. Until we all come together and we create a self-stimulus. The right word is creating a self-stimulus. Until we do that, coming out of this situation is going to be difficult. We should push our governments to probably, allow MICE and wedding destinations to open up, because that's going to be a huge revenue factor. And after MICE, we'll have a lot of people coming with their families, getting into leisure, doing some small leisure trips. So I think that's one way. Honestly, I feel that, post-COVID, what we all have to look forward is to create a stimulus between ourselves.
Okay. What I gather is that you're talking about creating stimulus, generating stimulus within organizations, within associations. Hirak, I'd like to ask you, what is your idea? What is your group doing to bring business during these difficult times? And okay. So can you continue? Okay. So my question to you is twofold. Firstly, what are you doing? Your organization is doing to get that stimulus and get your rooms occupied during Corona and in the coming days. And also, if you can give us some idea about the SOPs you're practicing at your property now to keep the guests safe.
Thanks, Partha, and thanks to everyone who considered me as speaker in this important occasion. Yes, this pandemic was totally unpredictable. So basically, if you ask anyone, including us, the players, no one was practically ready for any sort of things like that. So we never thought that how we can do some sales and marketing on pandemic times, because we have never learned it. But still, we have to survive. Survival is always for the fittest. With scenarios like furloughs, like asking people to leave from organizations, it was very tough decision for the senior most person of that organization or even the junior most person to survive and to work somewhere where we are unable to earn a single money. So, speaking regarding pandemic marketing, it's quite peculiar that we could not ask anyone to travel anywhere. Everything was closed. We sincerely hoped and prayed someone will call and someone will come. So this was one type of marketing which was really, I think, Sir will also agree with me, which was totally peculiar and never expected from anywhere. Yes, Ambuja Neotia, our parent organization, operates hospitality as well as healthcare. And we are a little bit lucky that our property is located in a location where a healthcare unit is also there. We had some guests, of course not of COVID-19 affected, because we never allowed them due to certain other reasons. But we did get some business from the family members of people who were coming to those facilities like healthcare systems, and also some people who were from the senior level of administration who had to travel, had to come. So other than this, it was really bare few numbers where we really saw that someone traveled here. And so practically there was no process of marketing or sales during those times, or even now continuing. But yes, one thing was always promoted, and that was that a sense of security, a sense of concern that, see, we are also concerned about the COVID. So our property will also have all the protective measures which is required for such activity. So you need not be afraid. That was our basic scope as far as sales and marketing you can say. Other than that, we could never tell someone that you have to come and please come and please visit. They could never do, because all the systems were down, train, plane, nothing was operating. So what to do? Yes, going to the second part of your question, the SOPs. See, SOPs were formulated by Government of India. There were guidelines of the World Health Organization, which was supposed to be followed if we operated hotels. Now, as per MHA guideline, we started operating from 8th of June 2020 the hotels by maintaining all the required SOPs. Yes, in my presentation, which I will perhaps show later on, there are certain guidelines we started following, like whenever a guest booking was taken, a form was filled up with all the details of his medical backup, temperature check, sanitization. The rooms were cleaned by wearing the PPE kits. Whenever we had small functions, it was totally done under sanitized condition. We were not allowing even the guests to speak and chit-chat without mask. But it was more related to health rather than to be hospitable. Like, we are hospitality persons, we cannot be rude to a guest. But one peculiar thing also I am seeing in this perspective, that even though everyone is very much worried about their health, all of our guests are worried about their health. But yes, as Mr. Anshuman, my teacher of one time in IHM Calcutta, he told that there is a concept of revenge tourism. Perhaps in that line, I am seeing that maybe 20 to 30% of us means the guests, are not maintaining that thing which a hotelier is requesting them to maintain. So that is also a big concern. If we expect the hotels to operate and operate following the SOPs, it is also simultaneously the responsibility of the guests to maintain those rules and regulations for their own benefit and for the benefit of the community. So this is also a feature which, if we start operating the hotels fully, we have to face. I think Pradipta sir will agree on that maintaining those SOPs, maybe it's a manual thing or maybe it can be done in pen and paper, but actually in field, we are facing sometimes a little problem for making people understand to maintain those rules.
I'm just wondering why it is so. I mean, is it the general culture of the country, or is it because probably the more risk takers have started traveling early? So the people who are more bothered about their health are staying back home and not traveling. Maybe just a thought.
Yeah, Partho, although I am not actually from this region, but I am in this region for the last 20+ years and working in the hospitality sector. If you see the demographical position of this region, it is a mixed bag. You know, we have got a mixed bag. We have got borders with 3-4 countries. There are different states bordering with us, and this entire hinterland is very small with a mixed bag of culture. So we get guests from West Bengal, from Bihar, from Assam, from Nepal, from Sikkim, from Bhutan, from Bangladesh, from Assam. So it's really a mixed thing. So confirming that why this nature is such is really tough. But yes, if you are located in the central of India, maybe you have got a similar pattern of guests, whom if you communicate in a simple way, they will understand. But making understand a mixed bag of guests is really a tough post-pandemic situations, because making them understand is a challenge for them.
Akansha, just to continue with the point that we have been discussing with Hirak. I mean, all your properties are open now. What is the booking status and how are you maintaining hygiene in your property? What steps are you taking? Especially, I would like to ask you because I know you are comfortable with technology. Are you using any kind of technological tools like touchless checking and those kind of?
Okay, thank you so much, Partha, and thank you, EHTTOA, for having me here. Such a pleasure to meet with our friends in Duars and North Bengal. So basically, answering your first question, Partha, about, have we opened? Yes. All our 3 properties have opened in Sundarbans, that is the Sundarban Tiger Camp, the Riverwood Forest Retreat Duars, and the Riverwood Forest Retreat Tench on the 15th of the month. And we just announced a week before that, we are opening up because we wanted to see what kind of a response we'll be getting from the market. We are very happy to say that we are already doing around 40% occupancy in Bench. We've got around 35% occupancy already in Sundarbans. Duars, we are still not doing that well. I would say around 15 to 20 because people, I think, are not very comfortable traveling yet from Siliguri. And as you know already, most of our clientele was inbound. So something which we really have to reposition to is the domestic market. Now, the challenges, like earlier, as I mentioned, that, we have protocols in place. As you already know, there are Adventure Tour Operator Association of Guidelines, ATOI guidelines, which have been in collaboration with TOFT, Tour Operators for Tigers. And the same guidelines have also been adopted by the Responsible Tourism Society of India. And I am one of the main people who have actually formulated the guidelines. This was way before the DOT guidelines came out, keeping into mind CDC and other international WHO protocols, what other countries are following. Now, what the main thing is that we understand how the virus works. There's a concept of physical distancing. Now today, that concept is not there in our culture. We like to get close, we like to meet people, we like to, mingle with people. So luckily this 6-month period has taught us something about distancing, but today people also feel that they are immune to coronavirus. It's not going to happen to them. So there are a lot of lapse in safety protocols. For example, if you're wearing a mask, a lot of people are wearing the mask below the nose. So like you just mentioned, if you have a hotel in Siliguri, you are following the protocols, you are doing the disinfection of the table, you are doing the sanitization, you are doing the cleaning. We have you're doing the contactless check-in. For example, your pre-registration card goes via WhatsApp or email to the guest so that he can fill in all the information. Your payment is done contactless by method of, luckily today we have UPI, we have Paytm, you have online payment gateways. So there are many methods by which you can take the payment. So that's what we are doing. We have already set up a system where the guest registration card is filled before his arrival. His ID is uploaded onto the internet and he virtually signs the document. So that takes care of our signing part of the document as well. Then as he comes to the check-in counter, we ask the family to sit in a separate space so that he can just show us the IDs from a distance and we can verify it's the same people, and then they are taken straight to the rooms. Now once the rooms are disinfected, it's very important that your staff, your associates don't enter the room. Even when you're getting the luggage from the car, there are a lot of protocols, like they have to be disinfected. The vehicle has to be disinfected coming from outside. You don't know if somebody's touched it, the driver's touching the handle, and so on. So getting all this in place, Partho, was difficult because I think the biggest challenge is training. We have sanitization, cleaning protocols in place, but disinfection and distance maintaining has been a bigger challenge. But I think if you have a good way of communicating to the guest that today you have to wear the mask, just not for yourself, but for also keeping the other people safe. Like in the dining, for example, in Duas, you all already know we have a very big dining space. We are not using an air conditioner. We're leaving the windows open. We have the fans on. We have actually distanced the tables to 10 feet distance from one another. So people are able to sit down and eat easily. And that's one place where you can take off your mask. The concept of buffet that used to be so popular back in the day. To be honest, you can still serve a buffet, but then it has to be contactless. Now, what do you mean by contactless in a buffet? The guest wears a mask, carries his plate from the dining table, comes to the buffet counter. The server who's wearing a mask and a face shield from the hotel side, he can serve. The guest does not get to touch anything. So that's a way, big properties can find a solution. Other ways, of course, you can give the buffet.
We have some connectivity issue with Akansha at the moment. But it was quite encouraging to hear that she is getting good booking in her Sundarban and other properties, although tours is still not very strong, as she mentioned. That I'd like to ask Sandipan. Sandipan, I mean, you interact with our members on a regular basis. I mean, what is your feedback? I mean, have we started getting bookings in our operator and travel agency business, or is it still too early?
Thank you, Partha. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank our panelists for coming over. We are very grateful to Vijay, Hirak, Swarup, and of course Vijay Mohan ji for at a very short notice. I think he agreed and that's when we sporting officer. Thank you so much. Yeah, before I come to your question, I think what is going to happen in the post-COVID travel? Basically, three things I think will be in the mind of the traveler and also in the mind of every stakeholder, be it the hotelier, be it the tour operator. I think we all have to experiment, evolve, and innovate. I think these three are going to be paramount, and that is going to take us forward. And I'm very sure, like the positive vibes that has been shared by all our panelists, yes, we are at the stage of evolving, and we are taking things forward. We are measured, we are optimistic, but we are also prudent. We are not overjoyed and we are not overboard with anything. Yes, EHTTOA as an organization has been on the road since 1st of September. We are trying to energize our members. I think we are all in a state of, I wouldn't say it's depression, but we are little, sort of lack of energy, sort of, energy is slightly lacking because No, at the end of the day, we are all individual entrepreneurs under the umbrella of an organization. And unless you are not doing well as a business entity, you're not going to get the spirit to take things forward. So I think the organization has a very important role to play in this time of crisis, and we have tried to energize our members. Like we just, I think Mr. Vijay Mohan and Akansha would be aware, but we just launched the EHTTOA business platform today. This is basically the B2B platform, basically for all the EHTTOA members. So that since now we are down with business, at least we can innovate and we can get our products in order. So that as soon as we are in the state of working and as soon as we start getting business, I think we are going to move forward very fast. Now coming back to what Partha asked me, I think the general feedback from all my members is we are getting a positive vibe since the Unblock 4 process has been announced by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Things are moving, we can feel that on the ground. Things are definitely moving. I think people have started inquiring about the general situation about this area. I think some positive vibes are being floated back to the traveler from the stakeholders that yes, we are in the process of evolving and in the process of this new normal hospitality that we have coined for ourselves, which has to be very, very important going forward. In between, like Pradipta has just informed us today, and I have the pleasure of visiting this property, Mayfair Hotels Resorts. It has opened up now for the tourists. I mean, these are the things that will take us forward. I mean, if a group like Mayfair can take such a lot of, such a lot of stake in trying to come up with such a good property in this region, so that itself is going to energize, I think, all our stakeholders to look forward, because that is going to be the spirit that is going to take us forward in this time of crisis. So I think things are trickling in, not in a huge proportion, but things are moving, and that is positive.
Okay, so both Mayfair as well as Baradighi, I guess, are experiential as well as luxurious properties. So coming to you, Swarup, this property you have just opened up, which is a experiential property, I believe. In Duas or in this entire region, most of the tourism that we see is nature-based, very much touristic. The experiential, the travelers are less in numbers, tourists are more in numbers. In the sense that if you compare the growth of tourism in the entire country, and I mean the inbound tourism to be specific, the entire country, our region in Sikkim tourism sector or in Duas, the movement of foreign tourists who are experiential travelers haven't grown that much. I hope that properties like Baradighi and Mayfair's that experience will be created. My question to you is, where are we going wrong? Why we are unable to attract international travelers in large number or experiential travelers?
Thank you, Partha. Hello. Thank you, Partha. Thanks to EHTTOA internal members. Baradighi has started just 1 month back. Started from September, you can say, because once it has opened an inquiry and then it was closed fully. And now in this new normal situation, what Sir has already discussed, so I just say something on that topic also. Partha, I am taking your topic. So we made 2 policies. One is for operation policy, one is for sales policies in new normal situation. For operation policies and sales policy, both the places, we made a separate budget for that operation budget as well as the sales budget. And like that way, we are doing our further procedures, taking the bookings and whatever the inquiries is done. It's a very small inventory, so that is why it's not, we are not getting that kind of problems as such. But it may be for the huge properties that things can be changed. We have very limited staffs actually. We are taking very limited staffs and that contact list and then that COVID protocols, whatever it is, that's a common thing. What everybody is maintaining, we are also maintaining. But mainly, we are giving a special attention to our staffs. Whether what we think that if our staffs are good, we can keep our guests good. That is the concept at Baradighi, and there's a small thing. We are concentrating on more resourcing in local way. Means we have vegetable garden inside that resort, not resort, premises, where we can make some organic vegetables and what we are producing, and guests can come and they can touch and make that food instantly. Third thing that we are concentrating on sales. Operations is like that way we are doing, and for sales what we are thinking. See, earlier it was there that we have to think about channel manager, OTA, then digital focus, all the things. Why not we are giving the same commissions to our local travel agents? Why not we are encouraging our own travel agencies where we can get good business? So that is our motto, and like that way we are trying, and we'll definitely give you a good deal from any travel agencies who are directly that the people are coming and they wanted to really promote our resorts. So that was the first part, and the second part, as you are telling me, how we can increase our productivity and the business and the foreigner client base. Foreigner client base will depend on as per the transportation. It's all depend on what government will give us that permissions. But local travels we have in Calcutta also based in Siliguri. If you can ask me that prompt service, more service, then we have to give for different creative. We have to make different creative. We have to give the prompt service where we are lacking. Even earlier also we were lacking because we were not prompt that much. Instantly, now the things are serious, the situation is serious. Everybody, there should not be any manager in a culture. There should not be any manager in the hotel. There should be, everybody should be managers. There should be a small property, I'm telling you. I'm not talking about a huge property. And maybe that in writing, there would be jail manager, other hierarchies. But for my small property, we have never kept, there is a position, the team leader. But the rest of the persons, they all are multitasking. So like that way, we are actually thinking. It's all in process. So how we do not know what the market will come, but definitely we will do good. If we can go with the local resourcing, if we can get the local supplies, we can do it. So like that way we are thinking.
Mahapatra sir, to take that question to you, where do you think our region, this city-building region, lacks in terms of creating experience? We have nature's blessings on us. We have Kanchenjunga, we have forest, we have hills, but still, the kind of experience that maybe to name a few, Kerala creates or Rajasthan creates. In this region, we haven't been able to create that kind of experience. That is my feeling. Do you agree with me? And
I partially agree with you. In fact, you see, there was time when this area was not explored. But slowly and steadily, this area is getting explored because all these stakeholders are taking interest, and now they are all out to promote this. For example, EHTTOA is a very beautiful association. So they are now one of the major stakeholders who are going across the world and promoting it. Similarly, region has also come forward. They are doing it now, though it is late, but things are happening. And this is a beautiful area, and I don't think it will take much time to tell the world that you have such a beautiful product in place. So I don't think it will. We are on the right track already.
So, talking about luxurious products, tell us something about the new chapter property. I'll be interested to know about it.
It is India's first tea tourism resort. We proudly say that, like Gangtok, the first also like this, the countries immediately Mayfair Tea Resort, Siliguri is the first tea tourism resort of the country. Yeah. So we acquired this new Chimta Tea Garden. Mr. Pradipta acquired this new Chimta Tea Garden, which is in 1200 acres land, and we got the permission of West Bengal government to create a resort there in the tourism concept, and the government allocated us like in 20 acres land we can come up with a resort. So from there we took it forward. So government actually helped us by giving all the permissions in time. So all the licenses, all those statutory requirements, whatever we needed to create a world-class facility. In fact, we are definitely going to classify it as the 5-star deluxe resort. Yeah. So we have already in the project we have classified it. There are a few works which is still going on. The moment it is complete, then we will definitely get the classification. And again, if we tell you this is once we are classified, this will be the first 5-star deluxe resort into the concept. You know, we have given a completely different product to the entire country. In the middle of the tea garden, there is a resort, which is in the concept of tea tourism. So there is a factory already there where the production was happening. So now that factory is open to the guests. You know, earlier what used to happen, if you have a good contact with any of the tea garden, you are privileged to go and visit that factory. But now it is in the tourism concept, and it is open to the guests who are visiting, who are coming to our resort. So that's something good. So you can go and visit the factory. You know how the tea is getting produced, starting from the CPC till the high class tea are getting produced. So that you will experience over there. That is something. Then the entire resort, once you enter, has got the story of the tea. So we have a lounge called Tea Story. So we have got the books across the world, how the tea has evolved, and another story about the tea. So once you go there, you will find a lot of photographs out there. For example, we have got the photographs of all tea managers. So it is from 1860. Tea garden has come up. So starting from that year, there are several. In fact, I don't exactly remember around 30 to 40 managers who has served there, including the Britishers. So we have got their photographs, which is displayed everywhere. Yeah. Then how the different part of the country, different part of the world has developed the habit of tea and what makes them explore the tea and the Darjeeling area. So all the stories are out there. So once you enter there, starting from those stories with a British colonial style, Tudor style, all those activities you take to go from there. So it is a completely different product altogether, and I'm sure with our product, the tourism to this part of the country is definitely. We will also do our part, but again, with the support of ITWA and all these stakeholders who are sitting here, and also bit of government's help, we will take it to a different league.
I'm sure about that. Akansha, we are sorry we lost you. The communication was disrupted a little bit.
Hi, sorry, yeah, but we had the load shedding, unfortunately. Still active, pretty much active here.
So the question I wanted to ask you is that you have a property in Couse, which was the second property, of course. And as you mentioned, it has among your 3 properties, it has the lowest occupancy right now. Also, something that because you do market all over the country, even internationally. So, do you face the same kind of difficulty in marketing all your products, or doers in a national level or international level makes it a little more difficult because of maybe the people are less aware? Is it same for all your properties, or doers gives you a different kind of challenge?
Honestly, my biggest challenge is selling the Duas property as compared to Sundarban and Pench. You know, when we started back in 2004, Sundarban was an unknown destination. It had a lot of negatives about it. Similarly, with Duars, we thought, you know, Duars is a beautiful part of Bengal, and I think it's one of the most under-marketed, under-explored areas. And I think the biggest challenge is that it's marketed in a very wrong way. Also, the positioning of the area, Duars, is done as, you know, like it's only for safaris, right? It's not done. We have a very big asset. For example, we have so many tribes living there, so many cultures. We have a border with Bangladesh. We have a border with Assam. We have a border with Bhutan, border with Nepal. So if we actually market it well, it can become like I think the most more popular than Darjeeling, because people have cultures here. You have different kind of houses. We can do cultural tourism. Wildlife, I think the drawback here is you don't have standardized vehicles. So it gets a lot of negative feedback from, at least from clients. Like I've already spoken to the forest department quite a few times, but the experience is not good. There's no standardization there. So that's something which we really need to work on, you know, getting everything standardized, having the best vehicles. Today, people, if I come and tell them, why don't you come to Gorumara National Park for Rhino Safari? Their thing is, we will go to Kaziranga because the experience is much better. I think is to spend more time in the park. So, you know, we really need to work together as one. I think that is also a challenge, that we all don't work together. We always feeling that, you know, what are we selling? We need to standardize ourselves. I think EHTTOA is doing a great job by bringing everybody to one platform. But we need to become like very focused that, okay, everybody has a space in the market. Everybody has a target market. Today, there is availability of rooms for 500 rupees per night, 1,000 rupees per night, 2,000 rupees per night, 3,000 rupees per night, 6,000 and so on. But for all these price ranges, there are different clienteles. So really, I think, Partho, honestly, if we work together, we collectively standardize Duars, start promoting the bird.
Hello. Yeah. Let's continue. I guess.
I think Duars is one of the best places. About Gajal Doma, even go to upper north part like Tangte, and it was a beautiful drive. And everybody is telling me, oh, Bhutan is so beautiful.
Akansha, I think your connection is very.
Well, this is so beautiful. I'm like, listen, and it has West Bengal on the other side, so you can actually get that collectively. So I think, honestly, again, if we have a method of communicating to the mass market, both India and internationally, that North Bengal is not only about Darjeeling and Gangtok and Sikkim, it's also about the Duars, and it is important to come and try the CTCT of Duars, come and see the wildlife of Duars, come and meet the culture of Duars. I think we can really capture the whole market. It's a fantastic place. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. That's a fantastic product.
And of course, the biggest drawback, I tell you also, Partho, was that we did not have flights. I think a lot of communication needs to go out from agents, because today people are flying. I don't know if you know this or not. A lot of people are flying from Delhi to come to Sundarbans. So if they come into Sundarbans, they will fly to Siliguri to go to Duars. Hello? Can't you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? What I was saying is, Baradighi is probably one of the fastest growing airports in the country. I mean, the volume of traffic has been increasing very, very fast. Probably one of the fastest in the country. So, air connectivity has improved. I mean, we have seen a time, I'm born from Siliguri. So, I've seen a time when there was only one flight which used to come from Calcutta, Indian Airlines, and one from Delhi. From there, we have moved quite far. But yeah, there is still a long way to go. I mean, Hirak, flight connectivity, transport is fine. Why don't we have any major, those are issues, I understand. Why we don't have any major hotel chain presence in tours, except for probably Sinclair's, which has presence, Neotia Group. You don't have the presence in tours. What are the flaws? I'm asking this question specifically because we are also celebrating 25 years of tourism in Lataguri. I mean, all the operators are local operators, all the hoteliers are local hoteliers. We don't have big chains coming into tours. Why is it so?
Partha, thanks for the question. Yes, our organization is spreading. Maybe not that fast in the hotel section, but they are spreading. For information, we are shortly launching. Maybe the launch date is still not clear about our Chiaputi, which is coming up in Makai. We are tying up with Taj Group of Hotels, and it is being launched very soon. It is almost 90% open for walks. And we are also coming up with the property in Gangtok. Yes, your question was with goals. This is to inform you that our chairman, Sri Harshvardhan Vijay, he has a plot in Lataguri. He had purchased a plot in Lataguri long back. Yes, he has not done any work on that till date, but very soon we have come to know that he may start the preliminary works in this area because he was very much busy in the hills. And you will also agree that yes, Akansha very well told that now post-pandemic also you can say that people will try to go directly to their point of destination from their point of start. They will less prefer to use transit. They will less prefer to use 2-3 type of communications and mix and match because they will take risk less. So airport, maybe the Kuch Bihar one, which lacked, which was planned once but it never got off that well, surely will help towards more. To say that a person who is coming from Kerala to enjoy Jaldapara may like to fly directly to Kuch Bihar and take a 1-hour drive and reach Jaldapara or 1.5-hour drive and reach Jaldapara, rather than coming to Bagdogra and crossing the huge jam of Siliguri and then going to Duas, spending 3 to 4 hours, half of it in jam. So yes, those days, those visits are very, very correct, which Akansha told just now, and I also support it. But we as a group, I'm updating you that we are very shortly start this property work also, basic work also, but already we have a plot in Lataguri very near to this location. So we have already invested in the land. Shortly it might be done into reality.
Good to hear that. More properties, more the merrier.
Enough to sell.
Sandipan, I'll ask you the same question. I mean, in tours, most of the properties, many of the properties are by tour operators, like they were tour operators and they came into the hotel business or resort business. Many people from other businesses, local people, they have also operated. So, do you think it's a very big groups coming to tours or no? For the smaller operators, smaller hoteliers, who owns individual property, or is it an opportunity to create my own common space like Baradighi has done. I mean, they have 4 rooms but very unique property. So maybe what is the way forward for small hoteliers, small resort owners?
Yeah, I guess viability is one of the major factors. I think when a major hotel chain thinks about a particular location, be it Goa or any other part of the country, I think they always think about the rationale behind investing a particular amount of money and getting an output that will be equivalent to their expectation. So that ratio is very interesting. And when a property owner, although I am not a owner of property, but if I could get into the mind of a hotelier and think about investing my money as a major hotel chain at a particular place like yours, I think there are roadblocks. I think we can't deny that. Still, there are roadblocks. As we briefly discussed a while back, connectivity is getting better. Baghdogra, as you correctly said, is one of the fastest growing airports in the country. We've got huge amount of traffic coming into Baghdogra, and that's partly we should be grateful to groups like Mayfair and other chains like Montana, of course, who have come up with lovely properties. Marriott has got a property in Siliguri now. So I think these are steps that are going to take this forward. This is going to bring in greater change. As Hirak just said, large group is coming to Kurseong, and I don't think Duos is really far behind. I think there's going to be a time very soon that major chains will, of course, if the infrastructure, it's like the cash-22 situation basically. We sort of say we can't promote Duos to that extent because there isn't that amount of inventory in this place, especially for the MICE segment. And I think the future of Eastern Himalayas is MICE and homestays. And I thoroughly believe these are the 2 segments of tourism which is going to take us forward in the next 5 years. So, considering the fact that MICE has a major role to play in the Eastern Himalayas, I think I would be very optimistic, and I would feel that the day is not far behind when groups like Mayfair, perhaps, as Hiruka said, Neotia group is already planning, they've already got a land, and I'm sure there will be other groups across the country who are going to be interested. Connectivity is in place, the land situation won't be a problem, and of course, the demand, which is the major ingredient of a hotelier to open up a new project. And like Mayfair has worked out this project in New Champa. I mean, if you had asked me 5 years back, what would be the viability of a project in New Champa, some 50 kilometers from Siliguri, I think people would raise an eyebrow. But today it's a reality, and people are actually, they are almost eager to go and visit the property. And as Mr Mohapatra rightly said, it's one of the best in the country, and it has to be rated as one of, it's obviously the best ski resort in the country, there's no question about it, but it has to be rated as one of the best, as I can say firsthand because I've visited the property, and it's definitely going to be one of the best in the country, and that itself will generate the interest, and that itself will generate the traffic and the demand. So I think that same rationale will work for other projects in the Duos region. Baradighi has come up with this unique concept, and with this pandemic, I think one positive aspect is the outbound traffic that would be about a few million people that would go out every year is now going to spend that same amount of money in the domestic market. So that itself is going to create the demand for projects like Baradighi, for projects like Mayfair, and of course
Hello? Can't hear anything. Can't hear anything. Can't hear anything.